Hi Elvis fans. This week we're going to be talking about death threats to Elvis. One in particular, but before we get there, we need to backtrack basically to 1957. Now, the reason we go back this far is I want to show you a method used by Colonel Tom Parker. And so Elvis turned 21, he was inducted, he got his letter of induction, and Parker promised him that he would try to get him out of it, though he never intended to. Now, back in the day, in peacetime, most celebrities didn't do their service. They were basically put through special services, a 6-week basic training course. They either sold bonds or they did concerts for the USO, whatever. Now, Parker sold the idea to Elvis doing regular duty because of the backlash he was copping for his profanity from his shows. Now, that would show him as a clean-cut American boy willing to do his duty for his country. But in reality, he pulled Elvis's career from underneath his feet. And this is a boy, 21, who all his films were hits at the cinemas. He was in production for King Creole at the time. All of his music went top of the charts, and the guy was really, really confident. Now, and he was also frustrated. I mean, despite all the success, Parker kept booking him into live shows and out of the place nowhere with his carnival, backup shows. And so after his service in the army, Elvis had no confidence whatsoever when he returned to the States, and he was back to being Parker's boy. Now, this continued on until '64. Now, Elvis had done a lot of crappy films from his return to '64 and was starting to get a little bit niggly about his film career, which he wanted so badly. He always said that, I really want to make it as a movie star because music might come and go, but stars seem to last longer. Now, this 1964 is when Sam Cooke, the R&B singer, was shot in a hotel and killed. Now, Parker pulled Presley aside and basically gave him an ominous threat saying that Cooke hadn't actually been shot by hotel staff. He'd been killed by the mob because he hadn't towed the line, he hadn't done what management had expected of him. Lamar Fike said Elvis was quite shaken up by this, and he basically pulled the line. So, fast forward to Vegas. Now, between 69 and 76, Elvis did an amazing 876 or 3 shows, and it would have been a grind, for sure. Elvis didn't like the repetition of it, and he was bored. And he suspected that he was bound by contract to the International or Hilton because Parker actually got an open slather for gambling. Now, Lamar Fike described Parker as a degenerate gambler, which he was. Back in the 60s, Parker actually offered one of the MGM studio heads a roll of the dice for a 3-year contract with Elvis. If he lost, Elvis would do the 3 films for free. If he won, Parker stood to make a bit of money out of it. That was his love for his boy, as he used to put it. So just recently, Danny the Spa guy, you might know him as, he was doing a scarf expose about spotting the fakes and preservation of them and whatnot. Now, the scarf guy was talking about Elvis's healing powers. Now, okay, I know it sounds quirky, but that was Elvis. And it was around this time in 75 that the personal valet for the presidential suite at the International, or the International Hilton as it was at the time, served Elvis one day and he was glum, and Elvis asked what was wrong, and he said his wife had cancer. Now Elvis took it on himself to grab the guys and head out to the guy's house and to do a healing session with his wife. He always tried to do his best for other people, I guess, but unfounded or not, who knows. Anyway, a couple of days later, someone else served Elvis, and he asked where his regular guy was, and he said he'd been fired. So a couple of inquiries later, it was because he involved Elvis in personal life. Elvis was so enraged he went on stage and basically berated the Hilton franchise for being unsensitive and unfeeling and whatnot. Now he could have done this for two reasons: because of what had actually happened, or the fact that he was trying to get out of performing for Vegas. But it brought him and Parker once again head to head. Parker was incensed. He told Elvis after the show, "You can't do that, blah blah blah." Elvis basically said, "I'll do what I want." He said, "You can't," and Elvis said, "That's fine, you're fired." Parker said, "I'm not fired, I quit. I'm going to hold a press conference." Elvis said, "I'm going to hold a press conference." Neither of them did, and they both went to their corners, and it went on for about 2 or 3 days. Now, in the meantime, Lamar and a few of the other guys were intermediaries between the two of them, and it wasn't going anywhere until Parker produced this bill of money owing, and it was huge. It was absolutely astronomical. If anyone knows about the way that their business arrangement was made, you will know that it was basically guff. But when they got the bill, Vernon Presley, Elvis's daddy, convinced Elvis that they couldn't afford to pay it, so they had to make up. But not long after that, the death threat. We did get to it, so thanks for being patient. A menu was slipped under Elvis's door, and it had a gun drawn on the picture to Elvis's head with a notation saying, "I'm going to kill you on stage." That freaked him out. What freaked him out more was Joni Esposito, Joe's wife, who was in LA at the time, received a call from someone, anonymous, saying that if she'd pay $55,000, he would reveal the plot to thwart the assassination of Elvis. Now, the Esposito's line was unlisted, so it was private, which begs to wonder how in the hell these people got the number. So this is my theory. Given Parker's practice of his manipulation of Elvis and what lengths he would go to keep the guy under his control, I believe Parker was behind this. Now, you've got to remember, whenever Elvis played at the International or the International Hilton, the top floor, where the presidential suite was totally booked out by Elvis. Now, there was a guard at the lift. There was usually a guard at the door outside the presidential suite. So how in the heck could anyone slip a menu under the door with that note on it without being an insider? Now, there's a lot of conjecture over the years about those who were loyal to Elvis and those who were loyal to Parker, or those who were just looking out for themselves. Joe Esposito was considered the prime suspect of spying for Parker. Jerry Schilling was pretty much obvious as well. I mean, Elvis even suspected him of sleeping with Priscilla, but that's another story. And of course, Charlie Hodge. Charlie Hodge was notoriously, "What about me?" So one of those guys could have slipped the menu under the door. Who else would have Joni Esposito's number? So it's a thought. Now, I don't expect people to subscribe to this, or, you know, a lot of people. They all think that Parker and Elvis had the best of relationships, but I assure you it wasn't. So next week, we're going to be talking about that, and then the dodgy dealings that Colonel Parker, or Andreas von Druck as he was known for his real name, had taken. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you want to, and you can debate this, or you can ignore me, hate me, or dislike me. I see I've got a few there now. But thanks for watching, and you just got to love Elvis, don't you? Anyway, guys, take care.